A very good evening to you. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
We've focused extensively on ENCA today on just school violence in various parts of the country, and you have an ambitious plan, 1 officer per school. Will it happen, and how soon?
Well, it needs to happen. We have no choice because law enforcement agencies are the only people that can resolve violent attacks. We don't have the capacity to have weapons. So the people that have weapons and the people that are trained to deal with violence are law enforcement agencies. It's already started. We're working strongly with them. What we need to do with them is that each and every police station need to have 5 or more schools around, and they have to identify a person that the school can liaise with. It's one of the 5 key points that we've developed.
But it's going to be quite a task to get that off the ground, because when you speak of policing, police are already so swamped with the everyday occurrences of crime that the likelihood is that there aren't 500 officers waiting around for deployment to Gauteng schools.
No, there aren't, but in their day-to-day responsibilities to say, for example, if you are patrolling as you've been at a school, if you feel that a school has an emergency, prioritize a school, because the country has prioritized education as priority number 1. So there's no way that other institutions that need to support education can lag behind. They need to be there, and they need to find resources to support us. Just imagine if police can say, we can't go to schools. It will be a disaster. So
how then are you going to motivate for this? Because I understand there's quite a process before it can become a reality.
It has been there for quite some time. We have piloted it before. We're just strengthening it now, that each and every police station must know how many schools are within our radius and how many policemen can be assigned when there is a need to go and assist us. And they do that, and we really want to strengthen it.
And sadly with this sort of thing, MEC, 1 officer per school sounds great for worried parents as well as pupils and the broader South African public, but when you look at some of our government schools in particular, you've got schools that have got well above 300 pupils on the grounds at a time. And when you look at the rate of violence in some of them, 1 officer will, in the long term, simply not be enough.
Hence, our draft plan does not emphasize only on the police, but it emphasizes on proactive matters, that we want to identify 500 bullies that are within our school environment. You can go to any school and say, who's a bully here? Who's troubling you? School will identify that particular individual. So we are saying, after we've identified those individuals, we hand them over to professionals together with their parents so that they can go through a very important rehabilitation program on anger management, how to deal with individuals when you're angry, what are the things that you need to do, and for them to know that violence does not resolve problems. So if we pick them up earlier before they act, we will no need for us to have policemen. But if we don't, then we'll have to call policemen all over to come and assist us. We really believe we've got a proactive measure to deal with this matter and to attend to it, but also strengthening the capacity of the SGBs to institute hearings. If there is something that is wrong, let the SGB has the capacity to draft a charge sheet, and let they have a capacity to present the case, a solid case, so that those particular students that are found guilty can be immediately identified, and they can be immediately attended to.
Our children are violent because they come from violent communities. There's no escaping that. So what is being done then to work around the socio-economic, if you will, factors that lead to the violence? Because there's no way you can ultimately bring an end to fighting and death at our schools if away from the school grounds, these are teenagers who go into families where they see violent behavior and other forms of aggression.
I always differ with people when they say so. Yeah. Yes, we are part of society, we are the mirror of society, but let us know that if they're within the school premises, they must behave. In Gauteng, we've got 2.3 million learners. And thus far, since the beginning of this year, we've disciplined less than 150 learners. Majority of our learners are well behaved. Majority of our learners are conducting themselves well. Yes, 1 death is too many. We can't say because there's 1 death or 2 deaths within our schooling environment, it means everything is fine. Everything is not fine. We need to strengthen, but we need to strengthen where there is good conduct. Because if we discourage those that are doing well and club them together as if all of them are doing bad, we'll then have a crisis in our head. But 2.3 million kids are behaving very well within our school environment, and that's where we need to invest. The 150 that are giving us a headache, we need to find a way of guiding them.
Let's move on to the other issue, the one headline-grabbing issue that's come out of today's meeting. You said that you've got big plans as far as Afrikaans-only schools are concerned, the introduction of perhaps a second and maybe a third language at those schools. Why at Afrikaans schools in particular will be the question?
Because we love all our schools. We really believe that our draft policy or our draft discussion document wants to say, let's respect all languages. We don't hate Afrikaans. What we are saying is that every language, if parents want their children to be taught in a mother tongue like Afrikaans, let's give them that. But to say the entire school, if it's not fully utilized, must only be Afrikaans-speaking learners only, it can't be true when a population have changed around those particular schools and there are learners that want to learn in other languages. That's not allowed. You can have Afrikaans in Block A and have Sizulu in Block B and English in Block C. And during break, learners can play together. That's how you build a non-racial society. We must not be scared to build a non-racial society that is acceptable to all. But if people believe they want to hide behind the broomstick and say, we speak this language, we need our own school, we need our own teachers, we need our own resources, we are defeating the foundation of this country of building a truly non-racial South Africa that our children can play together, dance together, and learn together.
But practically, how easy will that be for you to do? Because you're in some areas still battling to staff certain schools. I don't know how big a problem that is in Gauteng, but certainly it is a bigger picture issue for the country. So how easy would it be to make sure that these schools have enough staffing and the other resources that will be required to make that plan work?
It's easy, Tim. If you have a school, for example, in Centurion, the population of Centurion, like Gauteng, has changed. But we have more schools that are African-speaking schools rather than the number of schools that can accommodate other population. Our argument is, if the school is fully utilized, there's no need to interfere with it. But if the school is not utilized in some classes, introduce other languages, and the department will carry the bill of recruiting teachers, getting new textbooks or desks or other furniture and other related matters. Reality is, you can't postpone non-racialism. We must defend non-racialism, and those that believe that our education system is like an Irish coffee, bitter at the bottom, sweet on top, they need the sweetness of it. The bitterness must be given to other people. It's wrong. We must have an education system that all of us can share and all of us can enjoy. Enjoy the sweetness of it, enjoy the bitterness of it. But one thing for sure, all teachers are trained from the same pot, and all teachers can be deployed to all our schools to have quality education for all our children.
Gauteng Education, MEC Panyaza Lesufi, as always, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Tim.